Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, September the 8th, the year 2014. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. The NFL is back. I am so excited for this NFL season. Let's recap what went on in the NFL. Let's start with the game of the day yesterday. The Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints down in Atlanta. What a tremendous game this was. Atlanta pulls it out 37-34 in overtime in a wild and woolly game. The Saints are up 20-7 early in this game. They're doing whatever they wanted. Atlanta comes storming back. They take a 24-20 lead. Then the Saints go up 27-24. Then the Falcons go up 31-27. Then the Saints go up 34-31. Then Atlanta ties the game with no time left in regulation. We go to overtime. New Orleans gets the ball first. They have a big turnover. From there, Atlanta kicks the game-winning 52-yard field goal, and the Falcons win a very, very nice game. This is a huge rivalry in the South, by the way. These two teams always play close, competitive games. What a win by the Falcons. How about Matt Ryan? 448 yards. He was tremendous yesterday. I like the Saints team, but the Saints always have one of these games on the road where they let the game slip away. I mean, you're up 20-7, things are going your way, and the Saints turn around and lose this game. That's what I don't like about New Orleans. In their building, they are great. They always win in the Superdome. On the road, they take a step back. This was a bad loss for New Orleans and a great win for the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go to St. Louis, where the Minnesota Vikings just plastered the St. Louis Rams 34-6. It is going to be a long year for the Rams. I like Fisher as a coach, but he has his work cut out for him. Bradford is out for the year. The second-string quarterback, Hill, got hurt. They put in the third-string Davis. I mean, it was all Minnesota. Castle actually played well. Peterson, his usual good game. How about Patterson running wild on the St. Louis defense? This game was a total blowout. All Minnesota. St. Louis. I mean, I had a little bit of hope for St. Louis this year before Bradford got hurt. But now with Bradford gone, St. Louis could be the worst team in the NFL. That's how bad they looked yesterday. I mean, let's keep it in perspective. They got drubbed by Minnesota, who no one thinks is any good. So this was a bad performance by St. Louis. Nice job by the Vikings. Remember, the Vikings this year play outdoors at the University of Minnesota. Remember, the Metrodome, they don't play there anymore. They're waiting for their new stadium to be built. So the Vikings will be playing outdoors this year at the University of Minnesota. Nice job by Minnesota. Long year for the St. Louis Rams. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Steelers escape. They beat the Cleveland Browns 30-27. What in the world happened in the second half of this game? The Steelers are up 27-3 at the half and just blowing Cleveland off the field. What happens? I don't know what happened at the half. I mean, Pittsburgh must have checked out of this game. Cleveland comes storming back in the second half, scores 24 unanswered points to tie the game at 27, and all the momentum in Cleveland's favor. Late in the game, Tomlin for Pittsburgh had a very gutsy fake punt call. The game's tied 27. We're late in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh has a 4th and 10 at, I think, their own 20. They fake the punt. They get the fake punt. They get the ball up to midfield. Now, Pittsburgh ends up going 3 and out from there, but what it did is it flipped the field position. Pittsburgh was able to punt deep into Cleveland territory. They stopped Cleveland there. Cleveland's got to punt back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh takes over, drives down, kicks the game-winning field goal, so the Steelers escape. They looked tremendous in the first half. They looked awful in the second half. Give Cleveland a lot of credit for coming back in the second half. That was a tremendous comeback. Cleveland falls a little short. Pittsburgh escapes. Let's go down to Philadelphia. This was another strange game where the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 34-17. Jacksonville in the first half is up 17-0. They're doing whatever they want. They're throwing passes left and right. The Eagles can't get anything going. And you're like, what in the world is going on here? Then in the second half, it all turns around. The Eagles outscore Jacksonville 34-0. They block a punt. They run that back, and the Eagles pull away. Very, very strange game. I mean, Jacksonville dominating in the first half, doesn't do anything in the second half. The Eagles wake up, they score 34 unanswered points, so the Eagles get the job done. Listen, nobody thinks the Jaguars are going to be a good team this year. I mean, I would be shocked if they even won like 4 games. So the Eagles get the win. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, not too far from here, where the New York Jets beat the Oakland Raiders 19-14. This was a ugly, choppy, sloppy game. The Jets made things way too hard on themselves, way too many penalties. Geno Smith had a bad interception in the first half. He played well after that. Call was okay for the Raiders. I mean, he didn't light it up. He wasn't awful. I mean, you got to give him some time. He doesn't have a lot to work with. I mean, rushing really decided this game. Ivory for the Jets was good, 102 yards. McFadden for the Raiders, only 4 carries, 15 yards. Jets actually made this game harder than it had to be with all the penalties. We don't expect a big year from Oakland. We'll see if Carr develops into some sort of quarterback. Jets get the win. Let's go down to Baltimore. This was another strange game where the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Baltimore Ravens 23-16. Cincinnati is absolutely dominating this game in the first half. They settle, though, for 5 straight field goals. They're up 15-0. They could be up 35-0, but they keep kicking field goals. And you're sitting there going, Cincinnati is really going to blow this at some point. Baltimore's going to come storming back at some point. Sure enough, Cincinnati sets up for a 6th field goal. Baltimore blocks it. They get a nice return. From there, they score, make it 15-7. Baltimore tacks on a field goal, makes it 15-10. Baltimore scores again, makes it 16-15. They missed a 2-point conversion. Then the huge play of the day, Dalton hits the bomb to A.J. Green. A.J. Green down the sidelines, bobbling the ball, corrals it, goes in for the long touchdown. Cincinnati gets the 2-point conversion. They go up 23-16. Baltimore comes back down the field, but Cincinnati's defense stands tall, gets the big sack to wrap it up. What a strange game. I mean, Cincinnati has a very, very solid team, but they cannot settle for all these field goals. They could have been up 35-0 in the first half. You look up in the second half and they're losing. So Cincinnati's got to convert, when they're down in the red zone. Baltimore, I'm not in love with this Baltimore team. I know Ray Rice is suspended for a couple games. They're going to get him back. I don't love this Baltimore team. I think Cincinnati is the best team in that division right now. That was a very, very strange game and a good game. Let's go to Chicago, where the Buffalo Bills beat the Chicago Bears 23-20 in overtime. What a nice win by Buffalo. Who saw this coming? Buffalo up 17-7 early. Buffalo really led from most of this game. Bears do rally. They tie it at 17. Buffalo goes up 20-17. Bears tie it at 20. We go to overtime. Chicago gets the ball first. They have to punt it away. Buffalo goes right down the field. Jackson, a big run, stiff arm, and defenders off of him. He gets down to the 1. Buffalo kicks the game-winning field goal. Really nice win by the Buffalo Bills. I thought the quarterback did some nice things. I liked what the defense did. Really, really nice job by the Buffalo Bills. I did not see this coming. I thought Chicago was going to have a nice season. Chicago can do some things on offense. I don't like what I see from the Chicago secondary. I mean, they got to pick it up in that secondary. They didn't tackle well, let Buffalo move the ball a lot, so a nice win by Buffalo, not a good loss by Chicago. Let's go to Houston, where the Houston Texans at home beat the Washington Redskins 17-6. I'll tell you, Houston's defense, pretty good. Houston also blocked an extra point. They blocked a punt. Houston is going to be able to do some things on defense. They're going to be able to do some things on defense with Watt, with Cushings, with Clowney. Now, Clowney got hurt. He's going to miss 6 weeks, but Houston has some parts on defense, and their defense really was the story of this game, plus the special teams. And Washington, what is going on with them? I mean, they have to let RG3 do his thing. They can't, make him a pocket passer. He's a creator. He's got to get out and run, makes things happen. They want to make him a pocket passer. You're shackling him like that. You just got to let him go. Let him play his game. I don't like what they're doing with RG3. I mean, remember, Washington's got a new coach now. I don't know. You got to let RG3, play his game. I don't like what the Redskins are doing with him. Remember, they added Jackson in the offseason, the receiver. I mean, what a terrible loss by Washington. 6 points against Houston. What did Houston win? 2 games last year? So Washington all kinds of issues. I'll tell you what, if they're going to make RG3 play like this, they might as well put Cousins in the game, because Cousins is more of a pocket passer than RG3. I don't like what Washington's doing with RG3 early in the season. Let him go. Let him do his thing. I mean, I know you're worried about him getting hurt, but come on. You can't make him a pocket passer. He's a creator. As far as Houston, like I said, I think they're going to be better than last year. They only won 2 games. They can do some things on defense. I don't love Fitzpatrick at quarterback, although he was decent yesterday. Houston could be slightly improved. I did like what I saw from the defense of Houston, so Houston gets the win there. Let's go to Kansas City, where the Tennessee Titans just drubbed the Kansas City Chiefs 26-10. This was another surprise. Locker played well. Alex Smith, awful, 3 interceptions. I thought Tennessee just beat up Kansas City in the trenches. I was surprised. Kansas City is usually a very good home team. Those fans are great. It was all Tennessee. Could be a long year for Andy Reid and company in Kansas City. Remember, they were good last year. All Tennessee. They beat up Kansas City in the trenches. Let's go down to Miami, where the Miami Dolphins beat the New England Patriots 33-20. What a nice win by Miami. New England is winning this game 20-10 at the half, and they're doing whatever they want on offense. And what happens in the second half? New England can't move the ball from here to there. Miami outscores them 23-0 in the second half. Marino, a huge day. New England, 9 penalties, 2 fumbles. They got sacked 4 times. Wake was awesome for the Dolphins, creating havoc all over Brady. So a really nice come from behind win for the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a good team. I mean, don't count New England out just yet. I mean, you know they're going to rebound. They're going to make adjustments. But I did not like the second half. New England played it all. They did absolutely nothing. Got smashed in the second half. Dolphins get the win. Let's go to Tampa Bay, where the Carolina Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 20-14. No Cam Newton. He did not play in this game. Carolina gets off to a 17-0 lead. Anderson played well in Newton's absence. Tampa Bay did make a rally to make it close, but they couldn't get over the hump. McCown, 2 interceptions for Tampa Bay. I don't know how much I love him as quarterback. Tampa Bay, I mean, very, very shaky on offense. Nice win by Carolina on the road. A lot of people are down on Carolina this year. Remember, Carolina had a nice season last year. Everyone expects them to take a step back this year. They do get the big road win here. Let's go to Dallas, the Big D, Jerry Jones Stadium down there in Dallas, where the San Francisco 49ers beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-17. The Niners were up 28-3 before you can blink an eye. Romo had 3 interceptions before you can blink. I mean, it's the same old story with Dallas. Their defense is atrocious. Romo with the big interceptions. How about all the Niner fans in Dallas? I mean, one of the end zones was full of red. I mean, it was all San Francisco fans down there. I couldn't believe how many Niner fans made it to Dallas. They took over the stadium. Dallas never gave themselves a chance to get into this game. Like I said, Romo firing interceptions left and right. Dallas's defense is Swiss cheese. To me, the Niners are one of the best teams in football, despite all the guys out right now. They're going to get most of those guys back, I think, during the season. San Francisco right there is one of the best teams in football. You'd probably put Seattle first, San Francisco second, probably Denver third at this point. But San Francisco, a very, very solid team. Dallas, all kinds of problems. Let's go to the Sunday night game where the Denver Broncos at home beat the Indianapolis Colts 31-24. Denver actually was up 24-0 in this game. Colts made a nice rally in the second half. They did have the ball down 7 late in the game, couldn't get anything done, so Denver holds off Indianapolis. I mean, to me, is there any doubt Denver's going to have another huge regular season? You're going to look up. Denver's going to be 13-3 again in the regular season. Peyton Manning's going to have all these records and all these numbers, and what's going to happen come playoff time? Peyton Manning's probably going to run into a Seattle or a San Francisco and fall flat on his face again. But make no mistake about it, Denver's going to have a huge regular season. They added some key defensive pieces. They're probably better than last year. They're going to get Welker back. I mean, once again, it's the same old story. Denver, huge record. Peyton Manning, huge record. But can he get it done in the playoffs? Remember, the AFC is a lot weaker than the NFC also. I think the Colts are going to be a good team. Remember, they didn't have Mathis, who's suspended for 4 games. They'll get him back. I think the Colts are going to win the division. They'll be fine with luck. Denver holds on last night. And, of course, the Thursday night game, Seattle at home beat the Green Bay Packers 36-16. They pulled away in the second half. Until proven otherwise, Seattle is the best team in football. They have everything. They have the quarterback, they have the line, they have the running back, they have the defense, they have the receivers, they have the coach, they have the home field. They have everything, Seattle. They are the best team in football. Make no mistake about it. Green Bay, they got some issues on their offensive line. We all love Rodgers. They have some good receivers. They have the stud back. Need to create some turnovers on defense, Green Bay. They have some playmakers on defense. They don't have a great defense, but you hope they can get some turnovers, but I don't like what I see from Green Bay's offensive line. So that was week 1 in the NFL. Of course, tonight you still have 2 big games. You have the doubleheader on Monday Night Football, the New York Giants at the Detroit Lions, and the San Diego Chargers at the Arizona Cardinals. It is great to have football back. Transitioning a little bit to college football. College football has not been great so far the first 2 weeks. It's not going to get any better this week. This week, College Game Day is in Fargo, North Dakota to cover North Dakota State. That shows you how bad the schedule is this week. The first 2 weeks of the college football season, not great. Some of the bigger games over this past weekend. Oregon at home beat Michigan State 46-27. Very strange game. Oregon's up 18-7 early. Then Michigan State comes storming back to take a 27-18 lead. But then Oregon blows them out and wins 46-27. That was a decent game. BYU just blasted Texas 41-7. Notre Dame all over Michigan 31-0. Va-Tech upset Ohio State, although I don't know how much of an upset it is. Ohio State's quarterback is out for the year. USC beat Stanford 13-10 in Stanford. Nice win by USC. That was an ugly, sloppy, choppy game. Stanford had so many opportunities, let them all slip through their fingers. UCLA hung on for a very unimpressive win against Memphis 42-35, and a lot of the big teams just beat up on the little teams. So college football, not so great so far. It will pick up as we go on. Over to baseball real quick. We're getting down the home stretch of baseball. As far as the American League, Baltimore is in solid shape in the American League East. As far as the Central, Kansas City 2-game lead over Detroit. I would love to see Kansas City win that division. As far as the West, the Angels are in great shape. Wild card right now, Oakland leading the wild card. Seattle is that second wild card team. You could have 3 teams out of the West make the playoffs. Detroit 1 game back. Imagine if Detroit doesn't make the playoffs. Cleveland 3.5 out. They're playing better, but they waited a little too late, I think. Yankees 4.5 out. I don't think the Yankees are going to get it done. Had a great tribute to Derek Jeter yesterday. So many of the old Yankees on hand. How about Michael Jordan showing up? Great to see Michael Jordan. I'll tell you, there's one athlete I miss seeing is Michael Jordan. I wish he was still playing. It was great to see him at the stadium yesterday. And Toronto 5 back. So the wild card race is really wild and woolly in the American League. And remember, Detroit has 2 ways to get into the playoffs. They're only a game behind the wild card, and they're only 2 back at Kansas City for the division. Keep an eye on that. As far as the National League, Washington in solid shape in the National League East. St. Louis, as we all thought, has overtaken the Central. They're in good shape. Dodgers leading San Francisco by 3 games in the West. As far as the wild card, Giants lead the wild card right now. Pittsburgh is your second wild card team. Atlanta and Milwaukee are only a half a game back. Atlanta's, right there, despite all their pitching woes. They're only a half game out. They've had so many injuries to their pitching staff. Like I said, Milwaukee, they're fading, but they're only a half out. Miami's only 4.5 out, but I can't take them seriously. So the races in the American League and National League wild card are really going to go down to the home stretch. That is your baseball. Real quickly on the U.S. Open, Serena Williams does it again. She wins her 18th major. Her 3rd straight U.S. Open. What a job by Serena Williams, still playing at a high level at her advanced age for tennis. I mean, people would consider her old for tennis, but she is just rolling along. Great job by Serena Williams. The Bryan brothers win another doubles title, their 100th doubles title. They're an amazing doubles team. And the men's final is today at 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Nishikori against Chilik. Whoever thought we were going to have that final? Nishikori, the first Japanese player to reach the U.S. Open finals. He upsets Djokovic, and then Chilik upsets Federer. What a final. I mean, I cannot believe we have these 2 players in the finals. I think it's a breath of fresh air. I was sick of seeing the same players over and over again. They had a stat. They said in the last 10 years, either Federer, Nadal, or Novak, one of those 3 has been in every final of every major. To me, that's too one-sided. I want some new blood. I was happy to see Federer and Novak lose. Of course, Nadal out with an injury. We'll see when he gets back. I think it's a breath of fresh air. I know a lot of people don't like this matchup. I like it. I want to see someone new in tennis, especially on the men's side. I can't stand the same couple of players winning every tournament. I mean, Federer's like 115 years old, and he's still getting to the final, the semifinals of all these tournaments. I mean, I personally like, the new blood in tennis, so we'll keep an eye on that. So you got your U.S. Open today, you got your 2 big Monday Night Football games, and you have your Major League Baseball races, so you got a lot to watch tonight. I will be back with you guys tomorrow. We're going to get right into our NFL picks for Week 2. Wednesday, I'm going to do my college football picks. I'm going to have a tough time finding some college football games. It is a terrible week in college football. I think the big games in college football this week are Tennessee and Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's like a 21-point favorite. And then you got Georgia, South Carolina. South Carolina already got bamboozled by Texas A&M. South Carolina barely beat East Carolina last week, gave up a bunch of points. I mean, there is not much happening in college football this weekend, but I will try and find some picks for you. So tomorrow, NFL picks. Wednesday, college picks. You guys enjoy the games tonight. Remember, U.S. Open, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Then you got the doubleheader, 7 o'clock Lions and the Giants. That's Eastern Time. And then 10:30, you have Arizona and San Diego. So you have a lot to watch tonight, and throw in a little baseball as well. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Great to be back with you. You guys stay safe. Enjoy the games. NFL picks on Tuesday. Take care.